Imagine this. Your child sitting on the couch, tablet in hand, their eyes fixed on colorful videos, games, or funny clips. To them, the internet feels like a playground with endless toys. But to us as parents, it's clear that behind those bright screens lies a world that can be both fascinating and dangerous. Talking about internet safety isn't about scaring children. It's about preparing them. Before we dive deep, let me remind you, if you want more guides like this on how to talk to your kids about life's most important topics, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Every day, we bring you practical, calm, and supportive scripts to help you start conversations that really matter. Now, back to the internet. Children are growing up in a digital-first world. For us, technology arrived later in life, but for them, it's the air they breathe. They don't separate online from real life. To them, it's all one reality. That's why internet safety has to be explained not as a set of boring rules, but as part of everyday life. The same way we teach them to look both ways before crossing the street. Start by framing the internet as something powerful but neutral. Just like fire can warm us or burn us, the internet can be a source of knowledge and fun, or a place of risk. Kids understand metaphors like this, and it helps them see that the goal isn't to ban technology, but to learn how to use it wisely. The first thing children should grasp is that not everyone online is who they say they are. This doesn't mean teaching them to live in fear, but to live with awareness. You can compare it to Halloween costumes. Sometimes people look like something they're not. Online, someone might seem friendly or funny, but their intentions could be different. By using a metaphor tied to something children already know, you make the concept less abstract and more memorable. Next, talk about the importance of privacy. Children love to share things, drawings, favorite songs, even silly moments. But online sharing is different from showing something to a friend at school. Once something is on the internet, it can be copied, spread, and never truly erased. A good way to explain this is to use the pillow with feathers example. If you throw feathers into the wind, you can never gather them all back. That's how online information works. It flies farther than you expect. It's also crucial to address the emotional side. Many children don't realize that behind the screen are real people with real feelings. Teach them empathy. If they wouldn't say something face-to-face, they shouldn't type it online. The same goes the other way. If someone writes something unkind, it doesn't mean it's true or that they should believe it. By grounding digital interactions in human emotions, you help them see the internet not as a separate universe, but as an extension of real life. As parents, one of the best tools we can give our kids is the confidence to ask questions. Encourage them to come to you if they see something strange, confusing, or upsetting. Make sure they know they won't get in trouble for being honest. Fear of punishment often keeps kids silent, which can make them more vulnerable. By creating a safe space for conversation, you become their go-to guide instead of the internet itself. Finally, emphasize balance. Children need to know that screens are just one part of life. Just like too much candy can hurt their stomach, too much screen time can hurt their minds. Encourage them to mix online fun with offline fun. Playing outside, reading, drawing, or simply being bored. Yes, boredom is healthy for creativity. Frame it as balance, not punishment. So they don't see screen limits as unfair, but as part of living a full life. This first conversation about internet safety is like planting a seed. You don't have to cover everything at once. Start simple, stay calm, and keep it relatable. Over time, with repetition and patience, your child will begin to see the online world through wiser, safer eyes. One of the biggest challenges parents face isn't knowing what to say, but how to start. The word internet safety can sound boring or intimidating to a child. So the secret is to weave the conversation into everyday life in natural moments. For example, imagine you're sitting with your child while they're watching cartoons online. That's the perfect time to casually ask, "Do you know who makes these videos? Do you think the people are nice in real life too?" This opens a door to talk about creators, strangers, and the idea that not everything online is exactly what it seems. Children are more likely to engage when the conversation feels connected to what they're already doing. Another great entry point is during gaming. Many kids play online games where they interact with strangers. Instead of saying, "Don't talk to strangers online," which can feel too blunt, you might say, "When you play, Do you ever meet new people? How do you know if they're safe to play with? By asking questions rather than giving orders, you invite your child to think critically and explain their own experiences. This makes a lesson feel like teamwork instead of a lecture. Timing matters, too. If you try to talk about internet safety when your child is in the middle of something exciting, they'll probably tune you out. Choose moments when they're calm and open, like bedtime car rides, or while sharing a snack. These times are already associated with comfort, which makes them more receptive to a conversation that could otherwise feel heavy. Once the door is open, break the topic into small pieces. Children get overwhelmed when we throw everything at them at once. Start with the basics. Not everyone online is a friend. Once they understand that, you can move on to what you share online stays there, and later, your feelings matter online too. Think of it like building blocks. Each conversation lays a foundation for the next. Another key element is using stories and analogies. Kids love stories. It's how they learn about the world. Instead of saying, "Don't share personal information," tell a simple story. Imagine you're at the park and a stranger comes up and asks for your home address. Would you give it to them? Of course not. Online, it's the same. We protect certain information the same way we protect our home key. We don't give it to strangers. This method helps children make connections between the digital and physical worlds, making the rules feel less abstract. It's also important to highlight the good side of the internet. If we only talk about dangers, kids may become defensive or anxious. Balance it by pointing out all the amazing things they can learn, discover, and create online. Say things like, the internet is like a giant library, but you need to know how to pick the right books. By presenting it as both a gift and a responsibility, you help them see safety as empowering, not restrictive. Parents sometimes worry about making these conversations too repetitive, but repetition is how children truly learn. You don't have to sit them down for an hour-long lecture. Instead, think of internet safety like brushing teeth. Small, consistent reminders that become habits over time. Short phrases like, "Remember, we don't talk to strangers online," or "If something feels weird, tell me," can be sprinkled into daily life. Another effective tool is role play. Kids love pretend play, and it can be a powerful way to teach. You can act as a stranger online and let your child practice responding. For example, you could say, "Hi, I'm your new best friend. Can you tell me where you live?" And let your child answer. Then discuss their response together. This not only makes learning fun, but also builds muscle memory for how to react in real situations. Above all, remember that tone matters. If you approach the topic with fear and anxiety, your child may absorb that same energy. But if you approach it with calm, warmth, and curiosity, they'll feel safer opening up. Kids mirror our emotions, so staying grounded helps them stay grounded. 2. At the end of the conversation, always give your child space to share their feelings. Ask, "Does anything online ever make you uncomfortable?" Or, "Have you ever seen something that felt strange?" By showing genuine interest, you teach them that their voice matters. Over time, this builds trust, and trust is the most powerful shield a child can have against the risks of the online world. Talking about internet safety is only half of the work. Children also need structure. Clear, consistent rules and routines help them practice safe habits until those habits feel natural. Without structure, even the best conversations may be forgotten the next time they grab a tablet or log into a game. The first step is defining boundaries together. Many parents set rules without involving their children, which can create resistance. Instead, invite your child to participate. For example, say, "We're going to make some internet rules for our family. What do you think should be on the list?" Children often surprise us with thoughtful ideas. They may suggest things like no scary videos before bed or take turns with a tablet. When their voice is included, they're more likely to follow the rules because they help create them. One effective rule is setting time limits. Screens can be captivating, and without limits, hours can disappear. But instead of presenting limits as punishment, frame them as balance. For example, just like our body needs both food and sleep, our brain needs both screen time and off-screen time. This comparison helps children understand that screens are not bad, but they need to be part of a healthy mix. To make time limits stick, create visual cues. Some families use timers or sand clocks so children can see the time passing. Others use daily charts or colorful schedules that show when screens are allowed and when it's time for homework, play, or rest. Kids thrive on routines they can predict. It makes the rules feel stable instead of random. Next, establish device-free zones. The dining table, bedrooms, or family car rides can be sacred spaces where screens are set aside. These zones encourage conversation, eye contact, and rest. When your child asks, "Why can't I have my tablet in bed?" you can gently explain, "Because our brains need bedtime to relax, and the light from screens tells your brain to stay awake." These small science-backed explanations build understanding rather than rebellion. Another important boundary is what content is safe. This doesn't just mean filtering out inappropriate material. It also means teaching children how to choose wisely. For younger kids, parents might pre-select approved apps, games, or channels. For older kids, create a rule like, "You can explore, but if you're unsure, you ask us before clicking." This teaches responsibility while keeping a safety net in place. Don't forget to discuss privacy rules. Many children don't fully understand what personal information means. Go beyond. Don't share your address. Break it down into categories: names, school, photos, passwords. You can even make a game. Hold up flashcard examples, like favorite color versus home address, and let your child decide which is safe to share. Turning learning into play helps them remember longer. But rules alone aren't enough. Children also need consistency from adults. If a parent says, "No phones at the dinner table," but then checks their own notifications while eating, the rule loses power. Kids are experts at noticing when adults break the same boundaries they enforce. Modeling the behavior is more powerful than any speech. If you put your phone away, your child will naturally see that it's possible, and even pleasant, to live without constant screens. Building routines also means teaching problem-solving skills. For example, what should your child do if they see something scary or confusing online? Make this part of the rules. A simple one could be, if something online feels wrong, pause and come tell us. Reinforce the idea that asking for help is never tattling. It's being smart. To encourage this, you can create a safe word system. Choose a fun word like banana or superhero. Tell your child, "If you ever feel uncomfortable online, just come say this word and we'll stop everything to listen." This gives them confidence that they'll be taken seriously. Reward systems can also support routines. Instead of punishing when rules are broken, celebrate when they're followed. For instance, if your child sticks to their screen time limit all week, they could choose a family activity for the weekend. Positive reinforcement builds motivation without turning internet safety into a constant battle. It's also worth involving school rules. Teachers often set guidelines for internet use, and aligning your home rules with school expectations creates consistency. Ask your child, "What do your teachers say about being safe online?" This not only connects the dots, but also shows your child that safety is a community value, not just a parent demand. Lastly, remember that rules must grow with your child. A rule that makes sense for a 6-year-old will feel suffocating for a 12-year-old. Regularly revisit and adjust the boundaries. You can say, "You've been really responsible lately. Maybe it's time to give you more freedom here." Granting responsibility as they mature teaches them that trust is earned and that good habits bring rewards. Rules and routines are like the guardrails on a bridge. They don't take away the beauty of the journey. They simply keep your child safe while they explore. With clear structure, children feel secure, and security is what allows them to learn, grow, and eventually navigate the online world with confidence. If social media is here to stay, and it is, then the question isn't how to remove it completely, but how to teach children to live with it in a healthy way. Just like learning to eat nutritious food or brush their teeth daily, kids need guidance to form good digital habits. These habits won't only protect their self-esteem now, but will shape the way they interact with technology for the rest of their lives. The first habit is balance. Children should understand that social media is just one piece of life, not the whole puzzle. Encourage them to spend time offline, doing things they enjoy, riding a bike, playing an instrument, drawing, or simply spending time with family and friends. When kids discover joy in offline activities, they become less dependent on screens for entertainment and validation. Parents can model this by putting their own phones aside during family meals or outings. Children notice what adults do more than what they say. The second habit is intentional use. Many children scroll without purpose, opening apps out of boredom. Over time, this mindless scrolling increases exposure to harmful comparisons and wastes hours. Teaching children to use social media intentionally, for example, to share their art, learn about a hobby, or connect with close friends, changes the experience. Instead of feeling controlled by the feed, they feel in control of it. Parents can ask, "Why do you want to open this app right now?" This simple question helps kids reflect before diving in. A third habit is setting time limits. Social media is designed to be endless, with infinite scrolls and constant notifications. Without limits, a few minutes can turn into hours. Many phones now offer screen time trackers, and families can agree on daily or weekly limits together. For younger children, parents might set stricter rules, like no social media on school nights. For teens, it may be better to encourage self-monitoring, giving them the responsibility to balance their time. What matters most is consistency. Children thrive when rules are clear and predictable. Another vital habit is critical thinking. Social media is full of polished images, opinions, and sometimes misinformation. Children need the tools to question what they see. When a child says, "Look, everyone's better lives than me," a parent can gently ask, "Do you think this picture shows the whole story? What might be happening outside the frame?" These conversations don't have to be lectures. They can be curious discussions that help kids recognize that what's online is often just a fragment of reality. Equally important is digital kindness. Children should learn that their actions online carry weight. A supportive comment can brighten someone's day, while a cruel one can cause lasting harm. Parents can reinforce empathy by reminding kids to treat online interactions with the same respect they would in person. Teaching children to pause before posting, to think about whether their words help or hurt, creates safer digital communities, and also protects their own reputations as they grow. Privacy habits are also crucial. Kids often don't realize that what they share online can stay there forever. Posting personal details, addresses, or inappropriate photos can have serious consequences. Parents should explain privacy not as a scary rule, but as a way of protecting themselves. Families can review privacy settings together, showing children how to limit who sees their content. This empowers kids to take control of their digital footprint instead of leaving it to chance. Another helpful habit is tech-free zones. Bedrooms at night, family dinners, or study times can be sacred spaces without screens. These boundaries ensure children get enough sleep, real connection with loved ones, and focused time for learning. When phones are kept out of the bedroom, for example, children are less tempted to stay up late scrolling, and sleep quality improves, which directly supports mental health and self-esteem. Finally, parents should focus on open communication as the foundation of all these habits. No rule will work if a child feels afraid to talk when something goes wrong. If a child encounters cyberbullying, inappropriate content, or feels overwhelmed by social media pressure, they need to know their parents will listen without immediate punishment. This doesn't mean ignoring harmful behavior, but approaching it with curiosity. What happened? How did it make you feel? What do you think we can do together? When children trust that their parents are allies, they're more likely to be honest about their digital experiences. Building these habits is not about perfection. Children will make mistakes online, just as they make mistakes in real life. What matters is how parents guide them through those mistakes. Each slip becomes an opportunity to learn, whether it's realizing that too much screen time makes them moody, or that comparing themselves to influencers doesn't reflect reality. The goal is not to raise children who never struggle with social media, but to raise children who can struggle, reflect, and grow stronger from the experience. Healthy habits don't erase challenges, but they provide tools for resilience. And in a world where technology will only keep evolving, resilience is the most valuable skill of all. When parents think about internet safety, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. There are so many apps, websites, games, and trends. It seems impossible to keep up. But here's the truth. Your child doesn't need you to know every detail about technology. What they need most is your presence, your guidance, and your calm voice that helps them make sense of a complicated digital world. The first step is remembering that the internet itself is not the enemy. It's a tool, a powerful one, that can inspire creativity, connect friends, and teach skills that shape the future. If children grow up hearing only fear-based messages, the internet is dangerous. Screens are bad. They may learn to see it as forbidden fruit, something to be explored in secret. But if we frame the internet as both an opportunity and responsibility, they learn balance instead of rebellion. This balance comes from 3 pillars: education, structure, and trust. We've already explored each of these in detail, but let's tie them together. Education means explaining concepts in simple, relatable ways. Why privacy matters, how strangers online aren't always who they seem, and why critical thinking is important. Structure means putting rules and routines in place, time limits, device-free zones, and clear boundaries. And trust means creating a relationship where your child feels safe to come to you when something online confuses or scares them. But even with these pillars, remember that safety is not a one-time lesson. It's a journey. Children will grow, technology will evolve, and new challenges will appear. That's why the most powerful thing you can do is keep the conversation alive. Think of internet safety like teaching your child to cross the street. You don't just say, look both ways, once and assume they'll always remember. You walk with them, practice together, remind them gently, and gradually give them independence as they show responsibility. One practical way to keep this conversation ongoing is to integrate it into daily life. If you hear a news story about online scams, you can share at dinner. Did you know some people try to trick kids into giving away information online? What would you do if that happened? If your child mentions a new app, ask them to give you a tour and explain how it works. Showing genuine interest makes internet safety less of a lecture and more of a partnership. It's also helpful to remember that mistakes will happen. Your child might click on a suspicious link, overshare information, or spend too much time online. Instead of seeing these mistakes as failures, treat them as teaching moments. You can say, "I'm glad you told me. Let's figure out together how to avoid this next time." Children learn resilience not from never making mistakes, but from knowing they can recover and make better choices. Another key takeaway is the importance of modeling balance. If you want your child to see the value of unplugging, show them that you also put your phone aside during family time. If you want them to think critically about online information, let them see you fact-check something before sharing. Actions speak louder than rules, and your child will often copy what you do more than what you say. As you guide your child, also remind yourself that you don't need to do this perfectly. Parenting in the digital age is new for everyone. There is no perfect script. What matters is effort, consistency, and love. If you approach internet safety with openness, patience, and a willingness to learn alongside your child, you're already giving them the tools they need. To close this conversation, let's imagine what success looks like. Picture your child growing into a teenager who knows how to balance online time with offline hobbies, who pauses before sharing personal information, who understands that likes and followers don't define their worth, and who comes to you whenever they feel uncertain. That vision isn't unrealistic. It's built step by step, through everyday conversations, rules, and trust. So the next time your child reaches for a tablet or asks about a new app, see it as an opportunity, not just to set limits, but to strengthen your connection. Ask questions, listen carefully, and guide with patience. The internet is vast and sometimes messy, but with your support, your child can learn to navigate it wisely. Remember, you don't need to be a tech expert to raise a digitally safe child. You just need to be present, approachable, and consistent. Because at the end of the day, what protects children online isn't just filters, settings, or apps. It's the steady, guiding hand of a parent who cares enough to walk beside them. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can keep learning how to explain the hardest topics to your children with confidence, calmness, and love. Together, we're building a safer, kinder future for the next generation, both online and offline.